You may have heard about something called continuous treatment and how this doctrine of continuous treatment allows an injured patient to extend the time in which they have to file a lawsuit. Let me share with you how this will work and whether or not it's going to apply to the person that you're chatting with. So let's say, for example, a woman goes into her gynecologist. She has a breast lump. And during the course of the exam, the doctor tells her, okay, we'll send you off for tests, sonogram, mammogram, breast surgeon evaluation. They all come back. Everything's fine. Great. We'll follow up with each yearly visit. We'll check it to make sure everything's fine. Well, guess what? Over the course of the next year, that breast lump goes away. Patient forgets about it. The doctor inexplicably forgets about it. And the patient has other complaints on her yearly GYN visit. Okay, the same thing happens the following year. Patient forgot about it, it's not bothering her. The doctor, again, inexplicably forgot about addressing the breast lump. Now, it's 3 years later. Patient now notices before her GYN visit, I've got the breast lump in the same location that I had 2.5, 3 years earlier. It's now, I've got a discharge around the breast area. Now, the gynecologist immediately sends the patient out, breast sonogram, breast mammogram, breast surgeon to have a biopsy. What does it show? It shows stage 3B breast cancer with invasion into the lymph nodes. Bad news. So now the question becomes, does this woman have the ability to bring a lawsuit? Because now it is 2.5 years beyond the time that this improper medical care occurred. Can she still file a timely lawsuit? And you begin to think, wait a second, this guy Oginski told me about something called continuous treatment. Well, the patient went back to her gynecologist each and every year. Certainly there must be continuous ongoing treatment. Here's the problem with that argument. The problem is that unless the patient continued to be seen for the same condition, for the same complaint that she originally went to the gynecologist for, the law looks at it and says, no, there is no continuous treatment. So even though from the patient's standpoint they believe they were getting continuous care from her doctor for problems that she had relating to GYN care, the law looks at it and says she didn't make a complaint of breast problems and the following year or even the year after that. It's only 3 years later does she now again make this complaint. Well, you argue, shouldn't the doctor be responsible for failing to diagnose it and recognize it? Don't we get the benefit of that? The answer, unfortunately, is no. So unless the patient complains about the same condition, the same complaint, she is not going to get the benefit of continuous treatment. What if, though, she went back in year 1 and made a complaint about her breast, and now the doctor evaluated it, reassured her, and said everything's fine? What if on the following year, or let's say 6 months later, she then goes in for an unrelated complaint, and then 6 months after that again makes a complaint about the breast, and the doctor evaluates it? Will she get the benefit of continuous treatment to extend that time in which she has to file a lawsuit? What do you think? By show of hands, how many think she will be able to? Come on, I know your hands are working this morning. Okay, how many think they won't be able to? She won't be able to. The answer is there is no possible way for you to know the answer to that question on the very first conversation you have with this person. Impossible. And I'll tell you why. The only way that you can know whether or not there may be a valid argument for continuous treatment is if you obtain every single one of her medical records and you spend the time to scour each and every page of that record, and you spend a great deal of time with the patient identifying why she went in for each visit. What complaints did the patient make on each and every visit? What did the doctor do in response to those complaints? What treatment plan did the doctor tell her he was going to do? What was he going to do? When did he tell her to return back to the office? It's very critical to know why she returned back to the office. Was it for a routine visit? Was it for a complaint specifically relating to the breast lump? Only by knowing that detailed information and those critical factors can we come to a conclusion about whether or not there is in fact continuous treatment. Now, some people ask, do you need to have a short period of time between these visits in order to take advantage of continuous treatment? The answer is not necessarily. There are instances where there will be gaps in time, whether it's days, weeks, months, or possibly even years. And what if the doctor on his own calls the patient out of the blue and now says, hey, by the way, I just want to check on that breast lump that you'd complained about 2.5 years ago. How's everything going? Does that trigger the start or the continuation of course of treatment? The answer is maybe. And again, you won't know the answer when you're talking to them. The only way you can formulate an answer is after reviewing all the records, having an expert review it, and then making an argument that there is continuous treatment. Now, I will tell you that the defense will oftentimes try and make motions for summary judgment to get out of the case if it's a question of whether or not there's continuous treatment. And it's a toss-up in some instances. And so don't be surprised if you try and bring a claim and now the defense turns around, tries and throws your case out because they're arguing legally there is no continuous treatment for the same condition and same complaint.